Oh, we are live. Good morning, Facebook. We're live here.
All right. Good morning, everybody. It's 7 a.m. on a Thursday. And as of right now, that means it's time for Living Low Sodium with Mary Schepp. And I am so proud of myself that after over a year and a half, I actually got the show name right. So
Well,
good morning, Mary. How you doing?
In your defense, it was kind of started as a, sure, why not? We can do this for 6 weeks. And a year and a half later, it's going okay.
Yeah, not too bad.
That's
So
not too bad.
good morning on a Thursday. This is I'm actually really enjoying this because now I just sit back.
Did you miss me?
You know what? Yeah.
A little apprehension. You don't want to admit it.
Yeah.
It's funny.
So, and I generally don't attach myself to people, but I enjoyed doing your show with you. So
It was the banana, wasn't it? It was the banana smoothie.
that's really what caused the trepidation. I was worried if you were going to bring another one back.
That's funny.
But yeah. After that banana, I was looking for a way out. So
Oh, that's
sorry.
too funny. You know what's funny is I sit here and think about, I was thinking about it this morning. Oh, good morning, Ted. And so as a kid, I was one of those kids that, at least up until I was, 22, 24,
Yeah.
given half the chance, I'd sleep till 4 p.m.
Oh, not
Like
me.
I just, I never considered myself a morning person. And I don't know, maybe it's an adult thing, but now every day, no matter what, I'm up, whether I'm laying in bed and doing nothing or actually up and get up and go do things, I'm up. So it doesn't really matter. Hey, Dad.
Yeah.
Oh, hey,
So-
Jim.
Yeah, you got
So-
Jim, you got Ted.
Jim's my cast iron buddy.
The cast
I have
iron
like
guy.
6 cast iron pans to re-season right now. We're not looking forward to it. It takes so long. So I just thought it was funny because at first I was thinking about it like 7 a.m. Man, that's an early show to get up and go to the station. And I was up at 5:30, like already showered and had coffee brewing. And I actually have 2 coffees this morning.
Double-fisted
Right.
drinker. Yeah, I just poured all in one great big, which actually I've already been working on quite a bit this morning, so I'm going to have to fill this up again in a little while.
Yeah, I go through them pretty quickly. But so today's show is specifically because, sorry, I got people messaging me.
No, that's all right.
Today's show is Hurt or Heal. And it stemmed from a friend of mine who did a juice cleanse. And I doubt she's watching because she's a super busy person, but some people might know who it is. And I hate them. I despise them. I don't.
Not the person.
No, not the person.
Okay.
Not the person. I don't despise
grammar,
the person. No.
Punctuation.
The juice, yeah. Grammar matters.
Yeah. Segue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's when people ask me about those things, or when people try, and I don't mean any, I really, truly, it's not like that tongue in cheek, like, oh, I don't mean any offense. I truly don't mean any offense. When asked about it, I said, if anybody's trying to do something to better themselves, I support that. The problem is just like everything else, people get sucked into something and they just take it for truth because someone said, oh, this will make you lose weight, or this will make you feel better, or this will detox your system, or whatever you're trying to look to do. And especially if it's a quick, short-term, 3-day, 4-day kind of thing, then you're even more inclined to do it because, holy crap, I'm overweight, or I'm diabetic, or I'm whatever, I get migraines, or whatever it is that you're trying to stop. And you're like, oh, 3 days and it'll fix it, or 10 days and it'll fix it, or whatever fast period that you're looking at. So it's bothersome to me because I've talked a lot on this show about diets and how I feel about diets and how I feel about the word diet because it's a lifestyle. It's not,
Right.
you know, in the working world, we call it a culture. When you change your culture or you change your lifestyle, you actually have to change that pattern. And diets tend to not do that. And when you talk about like these, especially juice cleanses, I have an animosity towards them specifically because I don't understand how somebody like I want to sit in a table with that sign that says I hate juice cleanses, convince prove I'm wrong.
Oh
or
yeah,
something.
prove I'm
Or prove me wrong or
prove
whatever.
me wrong.
Because you're literally drinking sugar for whatever it is, day, 2 days. Some of them are 10 days long.
For the most part,
laxative tea at night.
And see, here's the thing: if you drink actual juice, it's very well. Cranberry. I do that for the gouts.
Right.
I get it out when they come over.
Right.
But completely whole.
Right.
No sugar added.
Right, which
nothing.
is really tart.
And it's hard to get down an 8-ounce glass. It is.
Yeah. I cook with it.
Whew.
So for people who can't have alcohol, those kinds of juices. So when you can get a grape juice or a cranberry juice or anything like that, it's expensive. It's usually in the organic aisle. And it's just, that's it. It's just cranberry juice or just grapefruit juice or just grape juice. And it's really tart because if you think of those kinds of fruits, I mean, they're sweet, but when you strip out all the fiber and all the other stuff, they're not as sweet as you think. A lot of them are much more citric than they are sweet.
Yeah.
So they're more on the acid side. But that's the thing is when you juice something, you take away, it's kind of like when Kim Nordine was on here and we were talking about the difference between milled flour from a commercial miller and milling it at home.
Right.
You strip all of those components out. So when you juice something, you are literally just drinking sugar. That's it. So when you're supposed to, as a grown woman, and I don't have my notes in front of me because I don't even think I put the sugar notes on there. I think as a grown woman, I need like 24 milligrams or something like that a day in sugar. It's not very high.
No, that's not a lot of sugar.
No. So you blow through that. Now I want to almost look it up. You go through that so quickly that it's insane. In one of those smoothies.
Yeah.
Or not smoothies. I don't want to mistake the two. One of those juice cleanses is usually double that for one. And you drink like 6 of them a day. So yeah, 24 grams of sugar for a woman, 36 grams for a man.
Okay.
Which, again, if you have anything remotely close to you that you can look at the nutritional label on, that is not a lot. Your coffee creamer in the morning will simply go through that. So it's troubling to me when someone tries to pitch something as healthy when it's nothing but sugar all day long. So your body needs certain things. And again, it's not to say that I don't want people to ever drink juice again.
Right.
But if you're gonna juice a fruit, do it in a smoothie where you literally just blend the whole fruit. And then you at least get the fibers and everything in it versus just the water and the sugar. But so if you're talking about a juice cleanse and you wonder if it can hurt you, they're low in protein and your body absolutely needs protein every single day to maintain your immune system and your muscular structure and function. It creates a serious nutritional imbalance in your body because it is mostly just like sugar, vitamin A, vitamin K, vitamin C. And if you're on any kind of medications, chances are you really have to be careful because the vitamin A, vitamin K, all of that is a problem. And then, of course, the juicing removes the fiber from the fruits and vegetables, the fiber is what fills you up. So it leaves you hungry.
Okay.
So you feel like you're starving. And then the low calorie nature of a juice cleanse, because I mean, they can get higher in calorie because it is so much sugar, but it's still a calorie deficient daily intake. So it can trigger your fight or flight kind of starvation mode, which slows down your metabolism, ultimately making you reserve more fat. But you still think it's working because you lose weight because you're doing nothing but drinking juice.
Well, yeah. And
so then the flip side of that is people always tell, the number one thing people say is, well, when you're done with this 5-day juice cleanse, go ahead and try and eat a full meal. You won't be able to. Really? You wonder why? Because you've been drinking liquid for days. So your stomach has shrank down to the size of a pea. If you ate a big giant Thanksgiving meal, it would stretch right back out and you would be fine again. So when you tell me that you know, it's the same with fasting on water. And I do believe in intermittent fasting. It's been proven to help in children who have diabetes, people like me with liver disease and kidney disease. But those are very similar to a fast that you would do for a blood test, where you drink water for 10 or 24 hours. Like you're not supposed to deprive your body for days and days and days and days and days and days on end. It's just not how our system works. So the other one is a keto diet. Now, the keto diet is very low carb, very high fat. Primarily, it was used to reduce the frequency in epileptic seizures in children, because ketosis is a thing in our body that happens naturally. It is also something that can make you very sick if your body goes into ketosis. So it can be a problem. So when you do a keto diet wrong, it creates nutrition deficiencies. If you're not following it to the T and eating a seriously wide range of fruits and vegetables and grains, you're going to be deficient in a lot of things like magnesium and vitamin B and stuff like that. It can also cause extreme problems with your liver, because in a high fat diet, like, have you ever heard of foie gras?
I've heard of it. I don't.
Fatty duck liver.
Okay, then now I know what that is. I've never eaten it.
Right. Most people here in the States,
because if you told me, hey,
have not, because of
Pete, would you like some fatty duck liver? And absolutely not. That's probably why they call it foie gras. Would you like foie
French.
gras?
Yeah.
Oh,
it's French.
Sure.
So,
I'll have some
and
foie
over
gras.
Here, it's not very, unless you go to a really, really high-end restaurant, it's not something that you find here, simply because of the fact of what it is. So it is fatty duck liver. So they take a duck and they literally feed it so much that, Gary.
Gary. Good morning, Gary. Good morning, Derek.
My
Good morning,
French
Ted.
is horrible, so I probably pronounced that horribly bad. Foie gras.
Foie gras?
Yeah. But they
Should we do
literally
French lessons on the show?
so much food down a duck's mouth that it's about to burst, and then they wrap a string around its neck so it can't throw it back up. So it is forced to digest it. And by digesting that much food, and people get it too. So when you eat the wrong things, and even if you're not an alcoholic or anything like that, if you're just genetically predispositioned for it, your liver can't process that much fat. So you get what's called fatty liver. It's a form or a step before cirrhosis, like I have. And it's bad for you. It's very bad. So keto can actually cause a fatty liver, and it can cause all of these other problems. Same with your kidneys. Kidneys help metabolize protein. And the keto diet can actually overload your kidneys and cause issues that way. It can cause constipation. It can also cause what they call that fog in your brain, because your brain needs sugar. It needs sugar from healthy carbohydrates to function properly. So by not having that balance, you cause more problems. So you look at all these diets, and I'm not saying, because I know a lot of people who do a keto diet and it works for them. But my argument is, if you can be so good and so strict about that diet, why can't you just eat real food?
And
holy cow, Ted.
Wow. Ted's given us a book here.
here.
Gary's got a couple of notes. They force feed corn boiled with fat so that when ingested, it deposits a large amount of fat in the liver, which is what they want to achieve because they want to eat that liver. That sounds horrible.
Yep.
Poor
And
duck.
they literally, after they force feed them that corn mush, they tie a string around their neck so they can't throw it back up.
And the novel from Ted says, if you reduce the sour juices on the stove by half and then fill half a pitcher with reduced juice and half with water, it should bring out the natural sugar, making it sweeter, but keeping down the sugar per unit because it's not all juice. The key to any diet is making sure you exercise to burn what carbs you do eat. You still need to watch what kind of carbs you eat. Some are easier for your body than others.
And that's so true. And so it's kind of funny because I get asked a lot to help people. And I tell people, you don't want me to help you. You don't. I'm an asshole. You don't. The same friend. I've been saying it over and over. You don't. Because I don't care. I mean, I care.
Are you sure? Because I think you do.
I do care, but so here's the thing. And if you're fat, you're fat. I don't give a shit. I don't think that you are any less attractive or more attractive or better or less of a person because you're fat. And I get it. I know that there are people out there who treat you differently because of the number on your scale when you step on it in the morning, because of the color of your skin, because of the God that you respect or don't. I get it. People are like that. I don't give a shit, and you shouldn't either. I don't care what people think of me. I have beautiful friends, beautiful family, a loving husband. If you don't like me because of how big I am, screw you. I don't give a shit. But that's the thing. If you're going to come here and sit before me and tell me like, oh my God, I'm so fat, and I'm well, then don't be fat. If you don't like yourself,
get off your ass and do something about it. And that's easier said than done.
It is.
True. But
don't cry to me about
there
it,
is truth in that. So, you could sit around and commiserate all you want. Derek says, I'm not fat, just happy. Good for you.
No, I'm not fat. I'm fluffy. That is the statement. I am fluffy.
Fluffy.
But that's the thing. So when someone sits there and cries to me about it, and or when the ever famous, like, oh my God, I cheated today, I'm so sorry. Don't say sorry to me. I don't give a shit. You're a grown ass adult. No. I don't care.
I shouldn't eat this.
Then don't.
You're a grown ass adult. Put it in your mouth if that's where you want it to go.
And that's where I'm the worst person, because if you ask me that and I'm like, oh, I'm not going to give you sympathy. I'm not going to sit here and stroke your hair and tell you, oh, you're right. I totally agree with you. You shouldn't, but let's do it anyway. I don't give a shit. I don't sit here every night and whine to my husband out, oh my God, I shouldn't be eating this. This is going to make me so horribly fat. We joke that we're fat because I'm not, but I do eat a lot of ice cream. So it's kind of the joke.
No, you're probably like 90 pounds soaking wet.
Oh, you are so sweet. Wow, that's very kind of you.
If you're, you are thin.
But I'm not 90 pounds thin, but I appreciate this.
But I mean, here's the thing. I actually, after everything I've done, all kinds of diets and everything going up and down and controlling things, I finally just decided, screw it. I'm going to eat what I want. Mm-hmm. And I'm just not going to eat as much of everything that I do. There's a friggin' Twinkie in my lunch bag in my car right now, and I will enjoy that come noon. But at the same time, since the beginning of this year, I've gone down from a 42 pant size in the waist to a 38. I'm awesome. I do not step on a scale. I do not. That's my only gauge.
But you made a conscious decision to say, I want to feel better. So I'm going to eat a little bit less bacon. I'm still going to have bacon.
I'm going to have bacon.
I'm going to step on a treadmill. I'm not going to run 4,000 freaking miles and join a marathon.
But I'm
going to go for a walk. I'm going to do whatever. And that's what's funny is when you talk, like if you actually scroll through and look at my food, I eat well. And when I put somebody on my diet, it's the hardest part about it. Is the no sugar and moving. So yes, right now, and it's funny because my husband will pick on me because right now I don't follow my true diet to a T because I'm doing well. But when I started and had to change my lifestyle and change my patterns, I had to be that strict. And if you're sitting there and you're obese or you're, like me, liver disease or kidney disease or anything else of that nature, and you have to change your patterns, you have to go. And once you get to your goal, then you can assess what you can add or not add back in that you want. What did he say? It gave you the levels of fatness.
Yeah. The 6
Big
level
husky fat. I love that. I
fluffy
love him.
damn it. Oh hell no.
I love him. Oh,
Yeah, I like Gabriel too.
So that's the thing is when people ask, what diet am I on or what do I do? And my answer is always, and I've said this before, I eat real food. So my main thing is you stick to portion control. I know I bitch about portions all the time, and I do not follow my portion control now. And it's a constant joke because, Ben will walk around the corner and I have a giant plate of food. But like I said, for the first 3 years after my liver failed, it was portions, it was balance, it was, make sure that I have the right amount of proteins and carbs and fats and vitamins and minerals and nutrients. And I literally only drank water. And as soon as I found out that I could have coffee, I drank black coffee because the creamer is what's bad in it and it's fat soluble. So as soon as you put creamer in it, you kind of negate all of the good stuff in coffee. So that was it. My options were water, no juice, no soda, no nothing. It was no tea, no anything. Literally, I was allowed 2 cups of coffee a day and the rest was pure water all the time for almost 3 years.
Wow.
And then it was portion control. I ate all day long and I would move. So I never called it exercising, but I would move. So I would, for 8 minutes, like 4 or 5 times a day, I would move and get my heart rate up. So whatever it was, walking around my house, walking around my yard, pulling weeds, walking up and down the stairs, anything that got my heart rate up where, if you carry a box all the way around down into your driveway and out into your car and come all the way back up in the house and it kind of winds you just a little bit, it's like, okay, I'm going to do that. So like if you go on a walk, you go for a walk as brisk as you can to get your heart rate up for 4 minutes, turn around and come back. And there's your 8 minutes.
There you go.
And in all honesty, that 8 minutes, any gym teacher will tell you if you do it at just below like a speed walker range is a mile.
Ted says, also with Twinkies, if you add a fruit high in fiber and antioxidants, not sure how to spell it, but I know what you meant, making it mostly fruit, you make it healthier. I have no concern about the health values of a Twinkie.
We're not trying to make
I love a Twinkie in my mouth hole.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite things in the world. I absolutely love Twinkies are number 1, bacon is number 2, and tots are number 3. If I had to live off of only 3 foods the rest of my life, that's what I would choose, and I'd be happy with it. Not a problem.
Yeah, mine's pretty much potatoes. I'm a potato slut. We've talked about that. I will eat potatoes every day, every which way. Breakfast potatoes, fried potatoes, mashed potatoes, baked potatoes, string potatoes, whatever it is. I don't care. I love potatoes. But that's the thing. So it was no sugar, like the only sugar that you get outside of what is naturally occurring in an item. So whatever is if you eat an apple, fine. If you want to eat a bushel of apples, fine. Whatever's naturally occurring in the item, or if you add sugar, it had to be honey.
So I love honey. I like honey.
So even though it's sugar, a lot of studies have a hard time showing that even though honey is a sugar, yes, if you drank a gallon of the shit, it would be bad. But using it as a sweetener in moderation, a few tablespoons on your yogurt, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Now, I actually like honey in my coffee. Every once in a while, I'll do that at home.
So good for you.
And I like it in my oatmeal. I have oatmeal every Sunday morning. That's what I do. It's my Sunday morning breakfast usually.
Right. So that was the thing. And there's certain things that, for breakfast, it was yogurt and fruit, oatmeal and fruit, or oatmeal and honey and cinnamon. Those egg bites that you love so much, the little eggs with
those are good.
They're like little egg muffins, I guess you'd call them. But yeah, they're mine is to potatoes as well.
Yeah.
And outside of potatoes, another one that I like to substitute for potatoes is acorn squash, especially for somebody who's trying to lose weight. Just because the benefits of acorn squash, even though it's a starch, are better than potatoes typically if you're trying to lose weight. So if you aren't allowed any sugar, you're only allowed to eat real food. And you have to move 4 or 5 times a day. It's not, especially once you get in a routine. So if you do it for a couple weeks, it's a pretty easy routine to get into. And I don't care if you went and walked up and down those stairs for 8 minutes while eating your Twinkie. Like if that's what gets you to move up and down the stairs, or walk for 8 minutes. And it's not, people always think that it has to be this, like My Biggest Loser on TV where you need a personal trainer and you got to go to the gym and work out 6 hours a day and blah, 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 blah. It's harder to lose weight once you have it on and have become insulin resistant. And that's what's funny to me when people talk about insulin resistance and that you see the diets on TV now, the GOLO or something like that.
I haven't paid attention to that.
It's a commercial. It's all over the place. So insulin resistance means you're fat. Once your body gets to a certain weight, it just kind of gets pissed off at you, and your pancreas and your spleen, they stop being able to regulate your hormones. And that's what insulin is a hormone. So if it can't regulate that hormone, there's too much sugar, too much glucose in your blood. And your cells don't absorb sugar the way, or the glucose or the insulin the way they're supposed to, which is why you become insulin resistant. So you just need to lose weight. And that's what's funny is, it's not funny, but if you look at the main causes or things that make you higher at risk for something, so diabetes, is obesity. I mean, yes, you can be born. There's people who are born with diabetes and stuff like that. If you scroll all the way down to the bottom, you can see. Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
So if you literally just start Googling main cause of, and then pick a disease, any disease, the vast majority of them, the answer is going to be obesity. And I get it. Genetics play a part. You can be born diabetic. You can be born with liver disease. You can be born with a hole in your heart. There's certain things that are genetic, or they're, you just, whatever reason. But the vast majority of them, heart disease, kidneys, liver, gout, insulin resistance, the answer is always predominantly, the main cause is obesity. So if you don't want to suffer that pain, suffer the gout, suffer the whatever, you have to change your lifestyle.
Well, you do. And that's why, for me, I rattled off my 3 favorite foods. And even above those would be beef. But beef's off my list now. Teeny tiny bits.
Yeah, you can have little slider or
something tiny once a week is about all my body will accept. Anything more than something very small and just enough to get the flavor of it.
Right.
That's it. Once a week, that my body's like, okay, you can do that. But if you do any more than that, we're calling the gouts. They're coming over and they're bringing big sticks.
Yep.
And they're going to beat the crap out of your feet.
And that's
it's not fun.
So that's the thing is the easiest way to get almost all of those diseases under control is to get your weight under control. So when people say, well, I'm healthy, I'm fat and healthy. No, you're not. You're not. You're just not.
No.
I'm sorry. And even if your doctor tells you you're boring on paper, and if you're under 40 years old and heavyweight, then you probably are moderately healthy. But it's science, it's statistics, it's proven over and over. And I know there's still a long way to go in health sciences and food related to your body and so on and so forth. And there are certain genetic lines that are just no different than animals in the animal kingdom. There's certain, you know, people who genetically are bigger or smaller, bigger boned, carry more weight. But the average person like me, if I carry an extra 60 pounds, then all of those things that your genetic bloodline says that you have a higher risk for. So if my bloodline says I have a higher risk for diabetes and stroke and heart disease and liver disease and kidney disease and gout, but my entire life I keep my weight under control and eat good, then everybody's going to go, holy cow, holy crap, everybody had it but Mary. But then as soon as you are overweight and then you breach that 40 years old or 50 years old, and all of a sudden you're going, holy crap, now how come I have gout? Nobody else in my family has gout, or nobody else has you trigger those things. You trigger those autoimmune diseases. You trigger those things that you're genetically predispositioned for, purely because you're spoiled and selfish and feel entitled to not have to care for yourself.
Oh yeah, you do. And you keep going and and I mean, I got a handful of years ago, I got to the heaviest I've ever been, and I got up into the 290s. Doc says, okay, we're just going to do super low carb / no carb. So for straight, and we've already had this conversation, I believe, straight 6 months, absolutely no more than 20 grams of carbs per day.
Low.
That's really low. And it was working. It worked fantastic. I dropped over 60 pounds, but that's when I met the Gouts, and they're nasty, nasty folks.
Right.
And then he said, okay, enough of that. And so it took a while for me to just figure out, you know what, again, and paying attention. And part of that is, again, the fortunate part of me for having produced your show for a good long while was getting to listen to a lot of what you talked about. And then deciding, how does this impact my life? Do I really want to do this? Do I want to diet? Hell no, I don't want to diet. I freaking hate diets.
But you eat a vegetable once a month.
I do now.
I take credit a little bit.
You do?
You mean, and your wife. But
my wife is wonderful with that. She gives me the peas and the beans and the carrots and the broccolis and the cauliflowers. I'm learning to appreciate them. Peas and carrots, I actually don't really mind.
I love peas. I love green beans. It's funny because when people look at my food and they talk about, my food always looks so good, and Ted's right. It's not just the vitamin balance. He says the most important thing is a vitamin balance. The most important thing is balance as a whole. So if you don't eat processed food, and if you have to question, is this good for me or can I eat this? You probably shouldn't. Should I eat this Twinkie? You know what? If you're asking that question, you know the freaking answer.
You know the answer. There's don't ever ask, should I eat a Twinkie?
You're looking for justification.
You don't need justification. The only justification I need is that I want a damn Twinkie.
Right.
I like a damn Twinkie. I love them. I'll shove them in my mouth hole.
Right.
They're great.
And that's like me with ice cream. And it's the same with, but I'm aware that if I want to have ice cream, if I wasn't working and walking 18 million steps a day and
you're constantly on your feet,
like going from one place to the other and doing whatever, if I wasn't burning the calories, and even now, because we don't, just because with my spine and everything, I'm a little bit more sedentary than I normally would be outside of work. So even now I've put on 10 pounds that I don't want to. And it's funny because something so simple, I've said this before, where you don't realize how bad you feel until you feel better. So I discovered that when I go over 160 pounds, no lie, no exaggeration, if I hit 161 pounds, there's a little tiny fat pocket about the size of a ping pong ball at the top of my belly, right below my breastbone, right where my rib cage stops, right here, above, right on top of my diaphragm. So I have a very, very small hiatal hernia. There's no reason to do anything about it. It's not hurting me. Nothing's bulging out of me. Doctor said, unless it causes problems or you go and lift a car, you should never have to worry about it. leave it alone. You got enough other shit to worry about.
Okay.
But if I break that 160 pound mark,
Yeah.
I get a little tiny fat bubble right there, and I call it my soft spot.
Huh.
Because I didn't put the two together until after my liver failed. And then when I finally started getting healthy again and finally started gaining a little weight again, and then I had asked my GI doctor about it because I was like, I haven't had this problem in years. I also hadn't been over 160 pounds in years. So it made me realize, and it's funny because I could never be a fat person. I couldn't. I'm at like 159 pounds right now, and I've been yelling at my husband every day that we have to get our elliptical in the house so I can add that extra, because I'm not giving up my ice cream. I like my ice cream. And the only way I can still have my ice cream is if I burn those calories somehow. The best way for my condition, my joints, and for me to actually do it and not give up is to do it on the elliptical. So whatever it is you want to do, you want to walk around the station 5 times and there's your 8 minutes, fine. You want to eat a Twinkie while walking up and down the stairs, fine. Whatever it is that gets you to actually move is what is beneficial to help you burn those calories. So I don't care what it is. You take a conference call, walk around your house while you're doing it.
Yeah.
But that movement 4 to 5, maybe 6 times a day, just throughout the day. You're sitting here not doing anything and you go, holy crap, I've sat down for 2 hours. I'm going to get up, set a timer. I'm going to walk for 4 minutes and then turn around at the end of that 4 minutes and come back. There's my 8 minutes. And on average, if you're doing a brisk walk, that 8 minutes should be about a mile. It's not a lot, but it's enough. And when you eliminate, no sugars, if any, bread, stuff like that, all the carbs, it was always, rice, proteins. And when you talk about balance, so everybody eats like steak and potatoes.
Yeah.
It should be like steak and broccoli. Especially if you have heartburn. So if you eat a beef or a protein like that, your body produces a certain kind of acid to digest and break down those proteins to turn them into what, the amino acids your body needs. To combat that acid, if you eat it with a broccoli or a cruciferous vegetable like that, or a nice dark leafy greens or an actual really good vegetable, the vegetables, the acid and the reaction to digest the vegetables specifically counteracts digesting the beef, which lowers the acid in your belly, which reduces your risk of having heartburn after that meal. So those kinds of balances. And that's what I think is funny, because my favorite thing is when people tell me that, well, it's a detox. I need a detox. A detox from what? Are you the Joker? Did you dump into a chemical vat of
right.
what?
Are you a heavy drug user?
Right.
The detox thing.
What do you think your liver and kidney and pancreas and spleen and gallbladder, your intestinal tract? Why do you think you have 2 different kinds of intestines?
I mean, just drink a ton of water. Just if you want to detox, forget the juice, forget the kales and all the little powders and everything else you want to do. If you really want to clean your system out, just drink water. It's what your body was designed to run on. It's what your body is most of. If as soon as you dehydrate, you run the risk of just expiring.
Gary says, this is one thing about my morning that I'm glad to be back in the mornings. Cause Gary's in Singapore. So when I was running a 5 o'clock show, he couldn't participate. And for those of you, I have to send out a message to Facebook, because apparently, I don't know if it happened to any of you. I don't know if it's just a matter of updating or not, but I guess some people the event that I create on Facebook is showing the wrong time frame. So we are going to be going forward at 7 a.m. Central Time, U.S. Central. And I did actually add U.S. Central because I realized that I have a pretty good following in Singapore, which is I don't know why Singaporeans want to be low sodium.
Now, I mean, if you look at the board behind you, which no one else can see, I keep adding new countries there.
Right.
But during the mornings, we actually are right now we're hitting quite a lot over Radio Garden, 216thenet.com, Stitcher, Spotify, TuneIn, Listen Notes, all of those. And there's actually a huge morning audience for the station. And I am actually very thankful that you're doing this now, because it kind of gives me a break from, I can just sit here and listen to you. You prepare your show. I push buttons.
Well, I think you'll be happy, because going forward in the future, I'll be bringing food, because we'll have a recipe of the week. We wanted to bring that in a while ago.
Oh, well, then Thursday morning breakfast. All right. So
we're going to be doing a recipe of the week. And because of my friend, holy early LoSodium. Thanks, Kat. Our little peanut gallery over there. So I will be I want to try and do a menu. I'm going to hopefully put that together today, and it is specifically for a friend. They asked for my help. They will probably hate me at the end of it, because everybody always says that they're happy that I'm not the kind of person who judges you because of what you eat, because I don't eat it, or because I don't drink. You shouldn't eat that. You shouldn't do this. You shouldn't be drinking. You shouldn't be whatever. Mm. I don't give a shit. If you want change and you want me to help you, then I will. But don't expect me to baby you through it, because I am the worst, because I just don't, and don't apologize to me either. Oh, I cheated. I don't give a shit. You need to walk in the bathroom and look in the mirror and apologize to yourself. Yeah. Because if you don't give a shit about yourself, all you did was waste my time. Yeah. Because it takes a lot of time to write a menu. And if you're going to cook for somebody else, it takes a long time.
And Gary says it's all in the food Mary brings, Pete. Yeah. Oh, believe me, I know. I actually produced her show for over a year when it was on Thursdays at 11 a.m.
I fed him well, minus the banana incident.
Yeah, there was the infamous banana incident.
The day of which we will not speak.
No, that was the day I almost threw up all over the entire studio operational equipment.
So. I love that it was when we still had you on the camera as well.
Right.
That was great.
That was terrible.
But back to the whole the detox. So when people tell me that it detoxes you, like your liver is an amazing organ. The human body as a whole is an amazingly efficient ecosystem. Mm. It's its own walking, talking ecosystem. You have millions of bacteria in your gut that are specifically there. They live in their own, it's like their own planet. Oh, that's funny. Our body is an ecosystem upon itself. Yeah. See, Gary, we're like twins from a different country.
Yeah. Twins from different parents on the different sides of the earth. But there you go.
Just your stomach alone is its own ecosystem. And then your skin. Like, I don't know how many of you had biology class. We got 3 slides. And you got to pick something from your body to look under the microscope. So we picked an eyelash, a scraping under your fingernail, and a scraping underneath your toenail. And you got to look under the microscope and see what it was. I thought it was fascinating. I was the girl that dissected the pigs and didn't care. And I actually my sister is a nurse, so I stole a box of her rubber gloves. Okay. Or latex gloves. And I sold them in the science class, because the teacher's like, these are dead. They're sanitized. They're not going to hurt you. They're not going to make you sick, and you're not eating them. So if you want gloves, you can bring your own. Nobody had gloves, so I sold them for cigarette money.
What were you, like in 8th grade? How old were you? Yeah, because I remember doing that in 8th grade. And we did the pigs, we did the frogs, and we did starfish. Yep. And
but that's the thing, is you look at the things that your body can do and heal. So there's people who've had half their brain removed from an accident or a cancer or tumors, and the other side can learn to do, or stroke patients like my mother. I didn't really think I'd be talking about this on the radio, but so not so long ago, my mom had a stroke, and she recovered very quickly. But the way that your brain finds the paths again, it's almost like somebody mowed over your maze, and you just have to find the paths again to get where you need to go. And once they're connected, they're connected. So the research behind stem cell therapy and all of these different things about what your body can do. The glove hustler.
Yeah.
I was always a hustler, and it didn't matter if it was gloves or anything. I found a way. But that's the thing is, even with my liver, so people look at me and they're like, oh, you're healed. No, I have 3 to 5% of a functioning liver. So my 3 to 5%, when people are like, oh, you look really good, minus the bags under my eyes because it's 7 o'clock in the morning, it's doing what your liver should do. And when you get a liver transplant, stuff like, or kidney transplant, they give you a piece a lot of times of things. Kidneys, I think they can't cut them up, so they give you a whole one. But
Yeah.
even if you gave me one of your kidneys, you could live on one kidney.
Mm-hmm.
So the things that your body can do, it has its own detox system. So if you just stop drinking, stop smoking, and stop pounding Diet Cokes 24/7 or energy drinks, holy shit, are those bad for you? And it's not to say that I didn't do that in the past and wish that I would have been more educated. And we talked about this very recently on one of the shows, where the relationship with food has always been what people talk about. And my argument as of late has been, what about your relationship with you? How do you value your own health? Because that's not taught. And it's not a discredit to my parents or my teachers or anybody else. It's just not taught. You're told that you should brush your teeth because your teeth will fall out. You're told that you should eat good because you'll get sick. But there's no importance behind it. Now, if I went to grab a stove or a hot iron, you're going to freak out, make me shit my pants, and go, no, I got no. And there's a level of importance behind that. But yet, you'll shove Twinkies and Ding Dongs and Ho-Hos down someone's throat and say, oh, by the way, you should brush your teeth. Well, there's no value put on our health. And that's all I did was eat real food. And my body did the rest. All of my organs were shutting down. They literally put me on medication after medication after medication, dumped me full of water, gave me magnesium, potassium to get and as all my levels started to plateau, my kidneys kicked in, my spleen, pancreas, gallbladder, everything started to regulate and slowly. And then they went, oh, you know what? Your liver is the only one who just no matter what we do, and we kicked it a couple times, it just doesn't want to do what it's supposed to do. So it looks like you got cirrhosis. We're going to do some scans and some this, that, and the other. And sure enough, I've got 97% scar tissue in my chest.
Oy.
I can feel it too. Like if I scrunch down to pick something up, and I don't know if you've ever had anatomy class, but the liver is a really big organ that sits right underneath the right side of your rib cage. It's very large. And when it's solid scar tissue, like I can feel it. You can actually feel it right underneath my rib cage.
Oy.
Yeah. So you have a detox system. You don't need to detox shit. You need to not eat shit.
Yeah.
So that's why it's so confusing. If you want to be that person, then accept your fate. You're going to be diabetic. You're going to have heart disease. You're probably going to have a stroke.
You're going to have what you're going to have.
Right.
And I'm a big, from the waist up, I'm a large fellow. It's just the way my body decided to grow when I decided to put more food in it than I was using.
So you have visceral fat, not subcutaneous. Subcutaneous is when you have just squishy fat, fluffy fat, all around your body. The stuff that's just under your skin is the subcutaneous. Yeah. That's your healthy layer of I should live in the Arctic with a snow dog.
Yeah, no, and I do not have that.
The hard beer belly is the visceral fat caused by insulin resistance.
Yeah, and that's when the islets of Langerhans and my pancreas decided that, hey, screw you, guy. But I'm not diabetic.
No.
By any stretch. I did again contract the gouts, but keep them at bay. But again, I'm at the point where I make no excuse for the way I am. I get on my treadmill, I walk. That's mostly for my knees.
And I love everything about that.
And that's, I do not run. I don't like to run. Nope. Running is not fun. I get no joy out of running. I'm not a runner. And even if someone is coming after me, I shall probably just stand and
I am right there with you because
do
I
what I
have
gotta
a
do.
lot of friends that are runners, and I am not. I am not a runner. I'm not an exercise person at all. I cry like a little baby 5-year-old girl that just got told she needs to make her bed. I piss and moan and rant and like a spoiled little child.
Yeah, and I don't like to sweat either. I hate sweating. I think sweating to me feels so gross.
So
It just feels so gross. I
my
do not
new
like it.
problem is that with my nerve damage,
Yeah.
I don't even want to try to put into words what it feels like to be sticky sweaty. Like when your nerves are screwed from your tits down and you're sweaty and things touch and stick, and it is the most awful. So the other day at work, I had no choice. We got 10 pallets. I had to put them away. And by the end of it, I just literally went and sat in my office and was like, this is just so horrible. Like, I know nobody else can see it.
Don't envy
nobody
you
can witness it, but
at all.
it's just horrible. So I'm a horrible.
And Shayna, I'll get to Kent in a moment here. Shayna says, do you take supplements to support your liver? And that amazes me. I think that's absolutely astounding. And yes, dehydration makes everything worse.
So because my liver because of what I have to maintain my water. So I actually stay mildly dehydrated all the time because in order to balance my water and maintain edema and ascites and all of that my liver will do very, very quickly. I will gain water weight very fast at a dangerous level, at a dangerous weight, where I will have to go in and get a paracentesis, which is to remove excess water from my abdomen. So I have to be very careful about my water intake, and that includes food, like watermelon, stuff like that. As far as supplements go, I do, because I'm a woman and I just literally get rid of every ounce of iron in my body once a month. I take iron supplements, and I take vitamin D through the winter.
I do take iron supplements and they're not, anyway, it doesn't matter. I do take iron supplements every single day, but it's for the purpose of carrying additional oxygen to my brain.
Correct.
My blood doesn't take enough oxygen where it needs to go. And Kent says, Pete glistens. Push down your skirt, Sally.
That's
buddy,
hilarious.
Have you ever worn a kilt? If I could, I'd wear a kilt every day. They're quite refreshing.
Right.
And I do glisten. I'll take that. I don't think there's anything wrong with glistening. That sounds lovely to me.
You're shiny.
I am.
That's just
I'm
so many jokes in there. So as far
Uncle
as
Pete
it's
is
funny
shiny.
because you touch on supplements, and supplements to me a lot of times fall in the same line with diets and shakes and juice cleanses and fasts. The problem is it is more profitable to treat people than it is to cure people. And so there are natural components to things like lion's mane mushrooms are unbelievably good for you. And there's studies that show that they are, in as far as neurological purposes, there's benefits for stroke and Alzheimer's and dementia and depressive disorders and people like me who have neurological disorders and myelin degeneration in their spine. Oil of oregano, same thing. I'm a proponent of oil of oregano. It's an antimicrobial, bacterial, antiviral, antifungal. But the problem is you can't find any clinical studies on it because it's not profitable.
No.
And so the studies that have been done for things like oil of oregano, the one study that proves the antibacterial properties and antiviral properties in it was because they discovered that had that. So there was an actual scientific clinical study that published on PubMed that the reason they wanted it is to take those components to use in the creation of catheters for people who have to self-catheter and to reduce the infection. Because if you have to self-cath every time you go to the bathroom, you're obviously increasing the risk, right? Pete,
Sorry.
you can't see Pete on the camera, but he just visioned that and he got the heebie-jeebies. But
That made my body
obviously, if you're
shudder.
doing that, you would significantly increase the risk of infections, urinary tract infections, all these other kinds of things. So it's terrifying that's the only reason that they did a study on that, is for that purpose. So when it comes to supplements, 90% of the time, the filler that's in the supplement that you take, for somebody like me, that has to metabolize through your liver. Anything that has to metabolize through my liver, I'm going to scrutinize.
Yeah.
And I wholeheartedly believe that part of the reason why I'm as good as I am is because I'm not, like, even the medications and the drugs and all the stuff that I was on in the beginning. And I asked my doctor, like, so if you have me on 17 different pills, don't those all metabolize through my liver, which taxes my liver? So aren't the things that are doing good kind of doing bad? And it, like, how can you measurably tell me that the good outweighs the bad on this? Like, once my water is under control and I'm not suffocating with 7 liters of fluid in my gut, like, how can you scientifically tell me that I should stay on these things? And he really didn't have a good answer. So I said, okay, let's get off them. And that's when he laughed at me. He's like, oh, all right, well, I'll try. Kind of like he does with everybody else. And 6 months later, I was off all my drugs and said, there you go. We weaned off. What's next?
Yeah.
Like, check. Told me to quit drinking. Check. Quit smoking. Check. Change your diet. Check. Get off the medication. Okay, done. So now I'm the poster child for liver disease purely because I eat real food.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. I still, like I said, I eat processed food on occasion. I like my barbecue potato chips.
Yeah.
Sadly, the Lay's discontinued the low sodium barbecue potato chips. Wah, wah, wah.
Oh, well.
But when it comes to detoxing, your body will do it for you. And if you eat balance, even somebody like you can drop the weight very, very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a matter of commitment. So it's hard for me when someone gets so passionate about, they're literally in tears of, I'm horrible, I'm this, I'm that. I'm sorry. I'm a horrible person for not having any sympathy for you, because I don't.
No, you're not. I don't think you are at all. This is, again, you just recognize that people can do what they want to do. They're going to do what they want to do. You don't need any justification from them. All you're doing is saying, hey, look, if you're going to do it and you want my help, fantastic. If you're not going to do it, I'm not going to waste my time.
And that's the thing is, when people, oh, it's so hard. If I put something in front of you that was important enough for you, so if I hung your kid,
you'd do something about it
over the freeway and said, well, he clears all the cars coming down, but as soon as a semi truck comes, you might want to get him down pretty quick. Come hell or high water, you're going to build a bridge. You're going to figure out a way to become Superman and make that happen. So it's all about the level of importance that you set for those things. So there is, I make homemade potato chips all the time. Those are super tasty. So the only diet that I actually will stand a little bit behind, and I think it's funny that they call it a diet, because it's not necessarily a diet. It's the Mediterranean diet. It's not really a diet. It's based on the way a people eat.
Okay.
So they took the lifestyle of people that live around the Mediterranean Sea
and said, eat like these guys.
And we're going to call it a diet.
Yeah.
And it's the Mediterranean diet, because they're healthy and they consume mostly vegetables, fruits, whole grain, healthy fats, fish, poultry, beans, eggs, very little portions of dairy, and virtually no beef.
And see, that's I'm kind of actually at that now, based on just my life. We got 1 minute here.
Yeah.
I'm learning to appreciate the veggies and the poultry. I'm not a fish person, but
I am, and I'm not. I'm okay with it. I try to eat more of it than I have, and I haven't. But that's the thing is, if you want to change, then make it important to you. because it's the only way you're going to succeed. You have to assign it a level of importance to yourself.
And Twinkies are not Mediterranean. They are if you take them there.
Right. If
He
you're
says.
eating them on a beach next to the Mediterranean Sea,
They're
they
Mediterranean.
become Mediterranean Twinkies.
All right, Mary, very quickly, how do people connect with you?
My LoSo Lifestyle Facebook page, YouTube, and please subscribe to the My LoSo Lifestyle YouTube page and the 216 The Net YouTube page. We are trying to grow our audience, which allows us to do bigger and better things. So please subscribe, listen, and watch YouTube, Facebook, and 216 The Net Radio.
All right. We're out of here. We'll be back next Thursday with Living Low Sodium with Mary Schepp.
Me.
Thanks for joining us.
7 a.m. Central.